And welcome once again to MonsterVision, your weekly look at the Fresno Monsters. John English here with Brian Rivera, Mullaney, looking a little Hollywood again this week.
I've done world travels since the last time I was here. I have now ready to go.
Okay, and with that, Monsters coming off a great weekend series in Southern Oregon, outscoring the Spartans 25-6 during that series, swept all three games. They are looking good going into this week. Guys, what did you see this week?
Go ahead.
Well, I saw a lot of, cleaner play. It's hard to play against a team like Southern Oregon when they're kind of the rough shape that they are. It's always, it seems to be like they're never in the correct place where you need to be to make a move or to make a play. So for them to dominate and play the way they did with Oregon being the way they were, I thought, it seems like they're turning their, going in the right direction, headed down the stretch here.
Definitely.
I thought that they played very well this weekend. They did a lot of very good things. Southern Oregon did not do a lot of good things. So that's why we won.
One of the big additions recently, Anton Swenson, 6 points so far as a Fresno Monster. He was all over the place during that Spartan series, looking like a very strong addition. It was good to see Jaden Pasillas get some action there on the third game of that series as well, give the other guys a break. This coming week, we've got Las Vegas coming in for 2 games at Gateway Ice Center, Friday and Saturday night. Join us out there. If you have not made it out to Gateway for a game recently, come on out, close out the regular season with a bang against Las Vegas there. What are you guys looking for in that series coming up here?
Like just kind of what I've been saying for the last few weeks is more consistent play. This is the time where you want to start dominating the play, making it hard to play against, executing on the power play, executing on the penalty kill, making it, if they're going to score, they're going to work for it. We're not going to be lazy or something stupid and make it easy for them.
I'd like to see them tighten up the power play a little bit more. They take a lot of time off the clock just by passing the puck a lot. Sometimes we lose the puck along the boards, and it takes the breakaway on the other way, going shorthanded. That's what I'd like to see, is to tighten up the power play a little bit more.
Okay, you're looking like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but you're sounding like Jimmy Snuka. Will you please pick a character?
Well, it's just the world travels that I've had. I pick up things.
Are you picking up being recognized at the rink at all yet?
Sometimes.
Illustrious gentlemen such as yourself, world traveler.
And such. I traveled all over Clovis and Fairmead and Madera the last week.
See, when the season starts winding down here and the Monsters are playing well, we can have a little bit of fun. San Diego, on the other hand, who have been chasing Fresno all season long, they're in El Paso this weekend. So they've got a rough go of it. The Monsters are 6 points up on them, but them getting a couple wins against El Paso is going to be tough. Las Vegas, on the other hand, they're going to be here playing the Monsters. They can't catch San Diego. That's already been settled, but they can try to knock us out of first place. Talk about what you think the Monsters really need to focus on as far as are they even watching the standings right now? Are they feeling pretty settled as far as where they're at heading into this playoff situation? Because it seems like you'd be looking in the rearview mirror a little bit.
I would. I mean, just out of sheer necessity to make sure, because you can't settle right now. Right. You have to be able to, even though we may have first place with you want to, let's say, lock it up, even though
get it clinched. Yeah.
You want to clinch it, definitely. Even if it's with that one game, but that one game would help tremendously because we have the week off after that, so you could, even rest some of your top guys, maybe not give them as much ice time, make them a little fresher for the last push, in the playoffs. But you want to clinch as soon as possible.
We have to win, two games to clinch home ice. Is that correct, I believe?
If they win and San Diego loses, they'll have it clinched.
Right. So we have to go in knowing we have to win 3 games.
Magic number is 1, essentially.
Right, but we need to win all 3.
Way.
We don't want to leave anything else to anybody else.
Right.
We have to take it. We got to use to be honest, I think we call it the freezer now, the gateway. We have to use that to our advantage. It's cold. The guys on the bench are going to get cold. We can't let them keep getting into the games and let them tighten up a little bit. And our boys know how to practice. They practice in it. They know how it's going to feel. So that's that home ice advantage.
Brian, from a coaching perspective, which way do you lean? Do you want to rest your starters and have them with a little bit rested going into the playoffs, or do you want to push as much as you can to get those guys, to get those wins and to keep those guys on the ice and keep them fresh?
Well, the first and foremost is you want to win.
Yeah.
You get that clinch in, and then you maybe watch the video of the game and see how they're doing. If we need to tighten up the power play, maybe you dress them, and the only thing they do is the power play all game.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if we need work on the penalty kill, maybe you dress the guys that you're going to want to rotate on a regular basis, and you focus that last game, or 2 games, whatever it may be, on tightening up your weaknesses.
I would like to have seen them rest maybe this past weekend. I think that would have been
Southern Oregon seemed like a lighter series where they could have done that.
Right, and
yeah.
you don't want something to happen in a series like that, and then you got to go into a series like this that's more important against a rougher team. I would have liked to see me and JD even started on the Friday game instead of the Max taking over, and then maybe him taking 2 games over the weekend.
I was kind of expecting that going in. I was a little surprised that Jaden didn't get even more action,
Right, and I had thought that Dumoulin would have been scratched, him being sort of injured right now, and but it is what it is. So hopefully everybody is healthy throughout the series. But that's that's coach's decision, and I'm sure he's doing it all season. So we're on a winning streak anyway. So what do I know?
I mean that too. And if you got guys on suspensions, their next misconduct's a game suspension. Maybe you get it out now, so you don't have to miss that if it's an important player. You need them in that 3rd game for that first round win, or something like that, and they have to be out because they were dumb in the playoffs, and it carries over.
So I want to take a second here to kind of explain what's coming up in the playoffs here. So next week, Ontario and Valencia are going to play, the 4 and 5 teams in the Western Division. That will determine who moves forward to play, presumably, if everything stays the same standings-wise, the Fresno Monsters the week after that. So the first place team will play the winner of 4 versus 5, and then 2 versus 3 will play that week as well, and then the winner of those 2 series will face off. So obviously, we hope that that'll be the Fresno Monsters, but it could wind up being that the team we just saw and the team we're seeing now could be the Monsters' 2 playoff opponents here coming up in these coming weeks here. The Monsters have really struggled against Ontario this season. They're the only team in the division they are sub 500 against. They are 4 and 5 against the Avalanche on the year. What do you see as the vulnerability there as far as, is that something the Monsters are going to be worried about, or is it just wipe the slate clean, new season, once the playoffs start?
Well, I think it kind of depends on, you're talking about the record being 4 and 5, and, we talk about wanting to be tough to play against to create that doubt, right? Mm-hmm. The last series Ontario was here, we seemed to do that a little bit, but at the same time, you kind of do wipe it clean and thinking it's, you're looking at the next thing, you got to win 2 games that weekend. Doesn't matter how you do it, right? You just get the first 1 to 2. Mm-hmm. 2 wins. That's all you're thinking about is 2 wins. So you kind of throw the rest of it out, but at the same time, you kind of want it to be in the back of the mind that, man, I hate going to Fresno. It's tough to play there. And
I should mention that those are 2 out of 3 game, best 2 out of 3 series in all cases there for this first round of the divisional playoffs here.
Yeah, no, it all depends on who we play. I mean, we have to play monster hockey, plain and simple. That's all it is. We played Ontario the weekend before. That first game was, I think, a known game that it was a mess. We have all new players that came in, and it looked like we had all new players that came in. They didn't gel. There was no continuity in their game, and Ontario took advantage of it. However, the next day, Ontario had no idea what hit them because once the Monsters started playing their game,
They flipped the script
it
on them.
was a whole different game altogether, and Ontario they were just standing there watching the game, basically. And that's what we need to do. We need to carry from that Friday-Saturday game over to when we play them in the playoffs, if we play them in the playoffs, and just take that momentum.
And we did have Narek Alexanian on here last week. Check that out in the archives on the Monsters social media. If you missed that interview, it was a great one. He did talk about that Ontario series and was very frank in his feelings about how the team did not play well at all, did not play up to their expectation on that first game of that series. He wasn't happy with the third game either as far as trailing part of the game. So they definitely have an expectation of what they're going to do or what they set out to do. As we mentioned, likely playoff matchups all the rest of the way here for the Monsters in terms of, just having seen Ontario. Now we've got Las Vegas coming into town. This being a very important series because that might be the division finals there. And they've had their struggles with Las Vegas. Las Vegas has been chasing them all year long. They are on a hot streak. We'll have to see what happens.
Right, and everybody remembers what happened the first game against Las Vegas, where, of course, we didn't have a full team. Las Vegas took it to us, and then we met them again. Different story, and I think we're just getting better and better against Vegas. Hopefully we carry that into this weekend's series.
And that's also something that's a little bit difficult to gauge, too, because the rosters change so much at a couple points throughout the season that you can't even really... they're not the same two teams playing, essentially.
Right, exactly. And that's rough when you're trying to match teams up like that throughout the series. You just never know what you're going to get. It all comes down to who's going to show up and, the bounce of the puck.
So one thing I think they'll probably want to watch out for is the, giving away opportunities in terms of the Monsters taking silly penalties from time to time. That seems to be a pattern that's developing. How impactful do you guys think that has been so far, and what can they do to work on not having that be a problem?
I think it's a huge thing. You get players in the later parts of the periods where they start taking penalties, and we're going into the next period down a man.
It always seems to be in the last minute of a period, too.
And it just...
Tensions are high, I guess,
Exactly. It's, and they're not... It's not like you're tripping a guy on a breakaway. It's just dumb stuff behind the play. It's just, sometimes you just got to let it go and know what your role is on that ice at that time. Because if they're making a breakaway and all of a sudden the whistle goes, excuse me, and something in the neutral zone, why even bother? And that's what kills us. And then now we're on a PK. However, the brighter side of the PK is that we score shorthanded goals, but we're giving the other team prime opportunities, when they don't even need to have them.
100%. It's that know the spot in the game. As a former player, we were, and a coach, it was like, make the game out of hand so it's not an issue. And then if you want to handle your score, maybe wait until the game's a little more settled than maybe 3-2 or 2-1, and let's say we go up on the power play and some guy trips us, and then now we lose our opportunity. And we've been good on the power play that night. We could have had a goal. Now we're back to even strength 4-on-4. And then they get that short power play and they get that power play goal. That could be a deciding factor in any game, which then may in fact decide the series. So you want to be very mindful of the situation and know that to put the team first at a certain point, and if you want to be successful, you make the team successful and your success will follow. So you want to make sure that your team first mentality and not be the one that may decide the game on on a stupid penalty that didn't need to be taken.
One thing about it, though, the Monsters have been very strong on the shorthand offensively, though, this season, too. I know that's something that's been talked about around the league. Why is that? do you imagine? I mean, I know there's times they've got some good size out there sometimes when they're on the penalty kill, but, it's not like there's... I haven't noticed anything that would indicate that being, a either a skill that they've worked on or a something that would have a pattern to it like it has.
It's one of those mysteries of the universe. We have no idea how and why that happens. The good thing is that it does. We're strong on the penalty kill, but half the time we shouldn't be on the penalty kill.
Right.
So you kind of weigh it out and say, well, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, right, there is no rhyme or reason to it, or you can look at it too as coach is putting his best players on the ice.
Yeah.
Right, and you create a little pressure. They make a mistake, and because we have our guys that can put the puck in the net, they can make a play. Now they're going from defense to offense like that, and they're quick and they're good and they're gone, and it goes on the back of the net. It can be very...
The speed is definitely a factor.
Correct.
Sure.
And it can be very team-oriented. To me, shorthanded goals is a defensive team statistic that's really good because it takes a lot of moving parts to get the one guy with the puck maybe on a breakaway or a 2-on-1, and whether it be a big save in a clear or maybe they missed the net and it rims around and we just happen to be in the right spot at the right time to pick up the puck on a breakaway. There's so many factors.
So let's do a little something here that we haven't done before. Predictions for this weekend series.
That's gonna be rough, but I think it's gonna be a 2-1 series, Fresno.
Yeah, I imagine that we're gonna want to take that first game and blow them out and get the clinch in, and then, like I said before, just kind of, I don't want to say cruise in the rest of for the second game, but really focus on our deficiencies, and you can't substitute game time for in practice the intensity and stuff. So it'd be a good shot for them to really work on executing the finer points of the game to carry on for the playoffs.
And, ordinarily I try to be impartial being on the broadcast and what have you. I don't have to do that here, but it's still going to sound like I am because I'm calling a series split. I think Las Vegas is going to take the first game, and the Monsters are going to take it down to the wire and clinch in the final game. It's been a difficult matchup. Las Vegas has something to prove. They're gearing up for the playoffs as well, and they're going to be hungry coming into Fresno. We will see how things unfold. Again, Ontario playing Valencia. After that, presumably, if everything stays the same, it'll be Ontario moving forward. We would assume there in that series they would play the Monsters, and then Vegas and San Diego are going to play. The winner of Vegas and San Diego will play the winner of Fresno and Ontario, and that will be the Western Division Final. Moving on to the Thorn Cup, which is a whole other kettle of fish that we'll tackle on down the road. Let's get this done first here. Any closing thoughts this week?
I just think that the Monsters got to come out and play their game. They got to be fast and hard and hitting. And, it boils down to how well our power play and our penalty kills come down. I think our power play needs a little fine-tuning. They've gotten better throughout the year. I just think that they do a lot of passing. Well, actually, this past weekend, they did pretty well, but they need to take a little bit more shots from the points and get those rebounds.
Yeah, I think if they turn up their tenacity, be hard to play against. That's the biggest thing right now is you can't be. You have to have that playoff mentality. Start that playoff mentality now. Being hard to play against, doing all the little things right. Make sure when you're in your defensive zone, the puck's got to get outside the blue line. It gets out. You can't make a turnover to cause a breakaway. Can't take a stupid penalty. All those little things that can add up into a series defeat. You got to start eliminating them now and be hard to play against. Have that mindset that we're going to be the nastiest team to play against, and it's going to be hard. And we want our fans to be involved, so we need our fans to be out there. Make Gateway loud. It's a loud place to play against. You can play in. Being a former coach, and I always loved being it's a good atmosphere there, and we can make it rough, and that's all we hear people talk about. I know some people from different teams. Man, you guys in Fresno, it's an atmosphere in Gateway. Let's keep it up, folks, and let's get Gateway to be, mayhem like we talk about, and really blow this thing out.
Absolutely. Going to be a great weekend. Join us out at Gateway Ice Center Friday and Saturday night for the Fresno Monsters taking on the Las Vegas Thunderbirds. We will see you out at the rink. For Mullaney, Brian Rivera, I'm John English. We'll see you later.